One of the hardest things about the SAT is that it requires you to break your bad habits. Now, some of them are your fault and some of them are your teacher's fault. So we're going to focus in this video on things that your teachers tell you to do in your math classes that we can avoid on this SAT. So we're basically going to learn a strategy that circumvents all the stuff that your teachers tell you. So let's start our strategy with this problem. Now, if x minus 1 over 3 equals k and k equals 3, what is the value of x? Stop this video, give it a go, and then we're going to compare how you did that problem to how I do the problem. So if x minus 1 over 3 equals k, well, it told us k is 3, so we can just put that there. Now, what is the value of x? I'm sure a lot of you guys, maybe not all, but a lot of you guys might have cross multiplied or multiplied both sides by 3 or just done something to this equation. Now, here's the strategy. When you see them asking you for a value of a variable in your equation, and the answer choices just have possible values for the variable x in this problem, all you have to do is plug in these numbers into the equation in for x, because it just asks for x. And we can see which of the x's will give us a correct statement, which means which of these fractions will equal 3. So let's plug in 2, and I'm going to basically do this all in my head. That way I'm not wasting time on the paper, because as you know, the SAT isn't like your teacher. They're not looking at your work. They grade you based on, did you get the right answer, or did you even guess the right answer, or not? So let's plug in answer choice A. 2 minus 1 is 1, so we get a 1 in our numerator. And 1 over 3 is not equal to 3. So answer choice A is out. And we know it's wrong. And it's never coming back from the dead, and we're never selecting it. And if you can't eliminate any other answers for some reason, you have a 1 in 3 chance instead of a 1 in 4 chance. So at the very least, we're eliminating answers. Answer choice B, we're plugging in 4. So 4 minus 1 is 3, and 3 over 3 is not 3. 3 over 3 is 1. So we eliminate B as well. And then C, 9 minus 1 is 8. And 8 over 3 is a fraction. Does not come out evenly. So the answer is definitely D here, since we've eliminated the other 3. But we can check it as well. 10 minus 1 is 9. And 9 over 3 does give you that 3. So this is definitely an easier problem. And could you have gotten the problem correct by cross multiplying and said 9 equals x minus 1 and then x equals 10? Sure. And is that quicker here for some of you? Sure, maybe. But there will be harder problems we'll see where it is quicker to use this method, where we're just plugging in the answers. So let's go over 7 problems where we will not want to use this strategy. It will not always work for you. So we'll talk about when it will work and when it will not work. So it will only work when you are looking for one variable. When you're looking for x, or you're looking for a, or you're looking for something. So here, we're looking for the length of AB. So we don't have anywhere to plug in the length of AB into this equation. We have x and y. None of those are the length of AB. So we don't want to be plugging in numbers there. Likewise here, they ask us for 8 to the x over 2 to the y. We don't have anywhere to plug 8 to the x over 2 to the y into our equation, so we're not going to use the strategy again. Here they ask us for x minus y. Now I see some x's, see some y's, but I don't see x minus y. I see 3x minus 2y. That's no good though. We only want to be plugging in for a certain thing that the question's asking us for x or for y. So no good there. Now, what is the value of 4b over a? Again, there's no place to plug in 4b over a. No good there. Value of 10x plus 3. Now, if you really want to manipulate your problem, you could double both sides to get 10x plus 12 equals 20, and then subtract off 9 to get 10x plus 3. That's a little more complicated. If you think you can do it, give it a go and check your work. But we're not going to want to use that strategy here. And kind of the same thing here. We don't have anywhere to plug in 6r plus 3. And lastly, the SAT is full of multiple choice. The vast majority of the SAT is multiple choice, but some problems are grid-ins where you don't have, multiple answers that could be correct, where you actually need to bubble in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and some combination of those to get your answer. So if we don't have answer choices, of course we can't plug anything in. You're not just making up numbers, unless you're using guess and check, which sometimes is a good idea. But no, here are some scenarios where we do not want to use this strategy. But there are plenty of problems where we do want to use this strategy. For example, what is the solution x comma y to the system of equations above? And they give us possible values for x and y, right? So in -5 comma -2, the -5 would be our x, the -2 would be our y. And we could just plug those numbers into the equations and see, do we get true equations or not? So in the top, 3 times -5, 3 times -5 plus 4 times -2 equals -23. You see what I'm doing, guys? I'm just plugging in -5 into the x, right? It said 3x plus 4y. And then I'm going to simplify and see if this is a true equation. And this is going to save you so much time. A, because you might get it on your first or second attempt at answer choice A or answer choice B. And B, because we're going to have to use like substitution or elimination, which is fine. You will need to use that for the SAT. There are some times you can't get around that. But it's so much quicker if we do it this way. So we get -15 minus 8, and that is 23. So that does work, but we still need to try the second equation. So do not get confused because they put the y first and then the x. You're still plugging in that -5 for y and the -2. See, I even messed it up. You're plugging in the -5 for x and the -2 for y. So 2 times -2 minus -5 equals 19, -19. So -4 plus 5. That does not give us -19, so we know that is not the correct answer. A is out. It's never coming back. So A is gone. That's not right. And we could try B. 3 comma -8. Now, the great thing about this strategy is that once you get the answer correct, you're done. You're not going to try any other answers. You're going to save that time. You're going to bank it for questions that require more time. Now, this one works. 9 minus 32 equals -23. And then we'll try it in answer choice B. And again, be careful. They switch y and x up on you. So -16 minus 3 is -19, right? -19 equals -19. So B is the answer here. And if I wasn't explaining and teaching you how to do this, this would have taken maybe 30 seconds or so. You get more than a minute for every question. So that's 30 some seconds you can bank for other questions. That's what the strategy does. It saves you time and allows you to use that time for the harder problems where you need to focus on the things your teachers tell you. Focus on those mathematical concepts. Okay, another question where we're just plugging in the answer choices. So for what value of n, so they're giving us values of n, is the absolute value of n minus 1 plus 1 equal to 0? So the absolute value, we'll try A. The absolute value of 0 minus 1 plus 1. 0 minus 1 is -1, so the absolute value of -1 is 1. And 1 plus 1 does not equal 0. So answer choice A is out. Answer choice B, 1. The absolute value of 1 minus 1 plus 1, that's equal to 0 plus 1, which again is not equal to 0. Answer choice B is out. And answer choice C, the absolute value of 2 minus 1 plus 1. So the absolute value of 1 is just 1, right? Absolute value just takes negatives and makes them positive. Anything that's 0 or positive, it just keeps the same. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and that is not equal to 0 again. So the answer is definitely D. There is no such value because the absolute value of anything is at least 0. And 0 or something higher plus 1 can't equal 0. If you can use that thought process at the beginning and not even use this strategy, fine, fair, that's great. You'll save even more time. But if you're the kind of student that wants to try it out and wants to double check and make sure, then yeah, this strategy is for you. Alrighty, moving on. Which of the following numbers is not a solution of the inequality? So, could you subtract the 3x on both sides and then add 3 and manipulate this equation to isolate x? Sure. and you can get an answer that way. Or you could plug in the answer choices, especially if you have a calculator, and see if we get a true or false solution. So 3, and we'll try A, times -1 minus 5 is greater than or equal to 4 times -1 minus 3. And we get -3 minus 5, which is -8, is greater than or equal to -4 minus 3, which is -7. And we're looking for something that's not a solution. Is -8 greater than or equal to -7? It is not. Perfect. We're looking for a not. Answer is A. So sometimes you'll get it on your first go, which is great. You're not even going to look back. It's not B, C, or D. It's A. That's it. It works. Don't think twice. Next question. Now we can see how it works for word problems here too. So the equation above expresses the approximate height of a ball t seconds after it's launched. After approximately how many seconds will the ball hit the ground? And we're going to plug in our numbers for t. And this is a calculator question, so you can plug in your values. So we'll plug in 3.5 into t. And now you need to ask yourself, what are you looking for here? After approximately how many seconds will the ball hit the ground? So if the equation gives us height and we're looking for when it hits the ground, we're looking for an answer that's approximately 0. So, 0 is a height of 0, or, hitting the ground. We want to see where the ball hits the ground, which is a height of 0. So we can just plug in our values of t and see which one gives us, and make sure to plug it in there, which one gives us a height of 0. And we'll do that. And I recommend, if you're good with the calculator skills are great for the SAT. Instead of having to type this thing in every time you're trying A, B, C, and D, just kind of arrow up on your calculator, recall what you just typed in, and just change the 3.5 to a 4. And then once you're finished with that, if you still don't get 0, change the 4 to a 4.5. And if you're done with that and didn't get an answer of 0, then change that, and you'll get 5. That way you're not typing everything into the calculator over and over again. You're just changing what you put in for t. So you'd have to put it all in one step. I know people like putting this stuff in first and then putting this stuff in after and then adding them, but there's no reason not to just plug all of this in at once. Now, if you plug in 3.5, pretend like I'm typing it into the calculator, that doesn't get you an answer of 0. So go back up and change the 3.5 to a 4.0. And that doesn't get you 0. 4.5 doesn't get you 0. And you'll see that 5 does get you a value of 0. It gets you the closest. I think it was like 2 or so, which was much closer than like 29, 27, 13 or so. So the answer that gets you closest to 0, and it says approximately, so we should expect the answer to be a little bit off. That's what they do when they say approximately. They give you an answer that's really close, but not quite there. But yeah, the answer is D. D by far gets you the closest to a height of 0. All right, now this question, really, really similar to that one we had before. Which of the following ordered pairs satisfies the system of equations above? Now, you can get creative with this strategy. You can tweak it a little bit. We can focus on this first equation first. And we can say x plus y, 3 plus -2, doesn't give us 0. We could say -2 plus -2 does not give us 0. It gives us -4. And we're just like that, eliminating half of the answers. We have a 50-50 chance we've gotten rid of A and D in half a second if you just get creative and skim the answers with the easier equation. Now, we do know 2 plus -2 is 0. We do know -2 plus 2 is 0. So we can focus on the second equation now. And we could see 3 times x. We'll try B. We'll try 2 is x and -2 is y. Minus 2 times -2. And we'll see if that gives us 10. This is 6. -2 times -2 is +4. And what do you know? It gives you 10, and we don't need to try answer choice C. We're done. We have the answer, and we're not looking back. If you finish the test early, I recommend going back and checking over your work, but not on a problem like this. Use that extra time on a problem where you weren't so sure. This question, we just got the answer. We're done. It's it. Don't look back. Okay. We got 3 more problems we're going to go over. This is definitely one I recommend using this strategy for. We have the square root of 2k squared plus 17, and then the minus x is outside of the radical, and they just tell us x is 7. Like, don't let that throw you off. Just put a 7 in there for x. Equals 0. Now, what is the value of k? So we'll try all of them. We'll try k is 2. So 2 times 2 squared, so 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 17 is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5. 5 minus 7 does not give you 0, so a is out. Look that over, guys. Make sure that makes sense to you, and if not, watch it back a few times. We're just plugging in 2 into the equation they gave us above. Alrighty, now let's try plugging in 3 once I erase. So the square root of 2 times 3 squared, so 2 times 9, plus 17. And again, minus x, still have 7 as x. That doesn't change. Equals 0. So 2 times 19 is 18. 18 plus 17 is 35. And 35 doesn't square root evenly. And by now, maybe you already realize that we're looking for a 49 in here. That way we get the square root of 49, which is 7. 7 minus 7 gives us 0. So regardless if you realize that or not, we know B is not the right answer. So we'll eliminate that. Now we'll just kind of tweak the 9 in there and make that a 4 squared. So 16. 2 times 16 is 32 plus 17. 42, 49. So the square root of 49 is 7, and 7 minus 7 is 0. So don't try answer choice D. It's not going to work. You already got your answer. We're done. Cool. All right, another word problem. Now, I recommend with word problems for the most part, don't really read everything. It doesn't matter that mass is M kilograms. Who cares? L centimeters. No one cares. All it says is, what is M when L is 73? So L is 73. So I just plug that in for L. And I keep the rest of the equation the same. And now I'm looking for M. And I can just plug in my values of M. And in this case, we'll try 14 first. I usually start from the top just to make it easy. So we'll plug in 14. And we will see that 3.5 times 14 plus 24 does give us our 73. We got it on the first try again. Really quick. Really quickly, we got our answer. All right. And then our last problem that we'll go through together. If 3 over 5 times W equals 4 over 3, what is W? Alrighty, so let's try 9 over 20 first. 9 over 20. So I can't cross cancel anything here. So the 3 doesn't cancel with the 5 or the 20. The 9 doesn't cancel with the 5 or the 20. So I'm just going to get 27 over 100. So that doesn't work. Now let's try 4 over 5. Again, nothing cross cancels. I'm going to get 12 over 25. You just multiply straight across to multiply fractions. Now let's try 5 over 4. And in this case, the 5s do cross cancel. Cancel anything on the top with anything on the bottom. And we get just 3 over 4, which is the reciprocal. So that doesn't work. We're looking for 4 over 3. And we will try 20 over 9 lastly. All right, and this does cross cancel. We can cancel a 3 here with a 3 there. Divide those both by 3. Cancel a 5 here with a 5 here. And yeah, we're left with 4 over 3. So that does work. It did happen to be D, so we had to try A, B, and C first to get down to D. But it still didn't take that long. Do I recommend multiplying by the reciprocal here if you know what you're doing? Sure. Yeah, you could just multiply by 5 over 3 to both sides. And you get 20 over 9 as your answer once those cancel. But if you're the kind of student who isn't so confident in your math and your algebra, then this strategy is really for you. And if you're the kind of kid that is confident, then for an easier problem like this, fine. Use your algebra. Use what your teachers tell you. But on a harder problem, use this. So hopefully you have a bunch to take away from this video and try to apply this in your SAT studies and see if it's making you any quicker. So with that, I leave you. I wish you the best on the SAT, and I hope everyone can get their SAT math scores up close to 800. See you guys.
Brad does math.